Welcome to today's show, Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, passionate, inspirational speaker, author, poet, and entrepreneur. Good morning, and welcome to Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. Today is Wednesday, August 15th. I want to give a great big thank you to those of you listening today, and I also want to give a great big shout out to all of you listening all around the world. I'm delighted and so grateful that you tuned in. I sure hope you're enjoying a fabulous day today and that you're having a fantastic week, because you know what? In the grand song of the universe, life is very, very short, isn't it? It's short and sweet and very, very precious. So I hope you're making a difference in your own life, because when you do, you also make a difference in someone else's life. Now, a lot of us want to make our life count for something, but we really don't know how to do it, or it seems just so big and overwhelming. So folks ask me, where do you begin? Dr. Gloria, tell me what to do. How do I make my life count? Well, it's really very simple, very, very simple. If you love people like I do, you can do something for them. Now, some folks call it random acts of kindness or random acts of beauty. I call it making yourself useful. Being kind, serving others, passing on your blessings, it's all part of legacy living. When I write notes to people, like a handwritten note of some kind, a birthday card, a thank you note, I usually tuck something small inside, like a tea bag, their favorite tea, or one of those little packets of coffee. Sometimes I include a small page of stamps. When I'm at the grocery store, I sometimes pick up something that's nourishing that I can take to my local food bank. And I always try to remember to look into the eyes of the person who is ringing up my groceries and ask him or her how they're doing, how their day's going, or wish them a blessed day. If I'm in a hurry, of course, I may not always remember, but I try. I also smile a lot. Not a goofy kind of smile, though. I have one of those. I just smile. Sometimes I don't even know I'm smiling until someone says, "Wow, I love your smile. You just light up the room." In our culture, we say that time is money. Well, I'm not so sure about that. Here's what I do know. A smile doesn't cost a thing. It doesn't cost a single dime. Yet the value to you and the other person who receives your smile is positively priceless. And you know what? You never know. You never know just who might need the beauty, the warmth, the radiance, the kindness of your smile. You never know what's going on in somebody else's life, do you? You don't know what their sister or brother or their son or daughter just said to them. You don't know what kind of news they might have just gotten from their doctor. This morning, I had to take care of some personal things that came up unexpectedly, so I was running a few minutes behind. When I checked my calendar, I realized that I was supposed to be in a meeting with someone, so I quickly called them, and when I made contact, I apologized for being late for our meeting. I asked if she wanted to reschedule, and she quickly said yes. Then, for just a moment, she hesitated and said, "You know what? I couldn't have met with you today anyway. I've been so distracted, so preoccupied. I actually forgot all about our call today. I've been on the phone these past few hours talking with my family. You see, my oldest sister called very early this morning to let me know that she's decided to go into hospice care. She's through with all the radiation treatments, all the chemo. She's had it. The doctors have done all they can do for me," she said. "Nothing seems to be helping anymore. I think it's time. I think it's time to let go," she said. So I said to my friend, "Well, let's pray for your sister right now. What's her name?" so we can pray for her specifically. And we prayed right then and there for Alma. After we prayed, I said, when you have a moment, tomorrow or later in the day, let's just reschedule our meeting, okay? My friend sighed a big sigh. Then she spoke. I could hear the fragility in her voice. Oh, thank you. Thank you for understanding, Gloria. You are the best. I really appreciate you and your flexibility. My next-door neighbor, Joe, goes for a nice long walk almost every evening right after dinner. Whenever I see him out walking, he almost always has a can of food in each hand, and he joyously swings them back and forth as he walks. Sometimes he lifts the cans over his head as he moves along, humming, his eyes just dancing, just sparkling. I mean, Joe always seems to have a smile on his face. After about an hour or so, he returns home, only the cans are gone. He has nothing in his hands. I used to wonder, why is he carrying those cans around? And why do they just seem to go poof? Why do they disappear? I mean, what on earth does he do with them? So one day I asked him, I said, hey, Joe, hey, what's up with the cans? Oh, those. Well, on my walk, I just swing down to the community center. You know, the one with the big food bins out front. I put the cans in there. And all while I'm walking, they give me a little extra oomph. So, folks, that's how you do it. Small, genuine acts of love, compassion, kindness, and generosity. Did you know that even your thoughts can make a difference? Now, why is that? Well, it's because our thoughts are made up of words and images, and those words and images are made up of energy. You know that little saying we all learned when we were little? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Well, let me tell you something. That's a lie. That is a lie. You know as well as I do, and you've heard me say it before, words have energy, vitality, and soul. Words have the power to bless or to blaspheme. They have the power to hurt or to heal. So take good care to send thoughts of love, of healing, of hospitality, and generosity. I truly believe that we're here on this planet to love and to serve one another. So that's how you do it. You make your life count day by day, step by step, moment by moment, smile by smile, every single day. 365, 24/7. That's what legacy living, make your life count, is all about. You can learn more about legacy living, make your life count, by visiting the Gloria Burgess website. That's GLORIA, B as in boy, URGESS.com. That's the Gloria Burgess website, GLORIA, BURGESS.com, or by visiting Facebook, Facebook.com/DR for Dr. DR, GLORIA, BURGESS, PHD /. All right. I hope you were able to join me last week and the week before for my show called What Am I Here For? What am I here for? I had a very special guest on the show, Elena Love. Elena is near and dear to my heart because she makes a difference in her own life and in the lives of so many others throughout the world through the use of words. Now, today's show is about thresholds. So let's begin by understanding what we mean by threshold. A threshold is an edge or boundary or border. Now, most of us understand threshold as something that we approach and then we cross over it, like the threshold of a doorway or passageway, Or perhaps we think of a sill of a window as a threshold. I remember when I was a little girl, we had large windows, large enough that when you opened them, you could actually sit on the windowsill with our heads barely touching the underside of the open window. So what does it mean to be on a threshold? And what does this mean for our lives? Well, let me tell you, when you understand the answers to these two simple questions, you will be able to transform your life for good. But before we answer those questions and launch into today's show, I want to take just a moment to welcome you. If you're just joining us, welcome, dear listeners. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess. This is Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'd like to extend a very special welcome to those of you who are joining my show, or if you're joining Talk Network Radio for the very first time. You're in for a real treat. I'm excited to have you listening in today, and I'm deeply honored that you've allowed me to be part of your day so you can be inspired by ideas and resources to make your life count. Now, today's show is all about thresholds, and my specific focus is about navigating the thresholds in your life. You can really navigate those thresholds rather than being overwhelmed or overtaken by them. I was inspired to focus on thresholds today for many reasons. In just a few days, we're approaching a seasonal threshold, and seasonal cycles are always a time to consider those edges, those boundaries and borders of our life, especially in cultures like the U.S. culture where we've lost touch with the natural cycles of birth and death, change and transition, reawakening and renewal. And since we've lost touch with those natural rhythms, those natural cycles, we've also lost touch with some of the great thresholds of our life. Now, as I mentioned earlier, a threshold is an edge or boundary or border. And most of us understand that a threshold is something that we approach and then we step across it, we cross over it, like the threshold of a doorway, a passageway, a portal of some kind. Thresholds can signal new beginnings, transitions, the unknown, commencements, right? Or some area where mystery is important in your life. The birth of a child, the baptism of that child, graduations, venturing away from home for the very first time, landing your first real job, launching a new career, getting engaged, getting married, celebrating a milestone birthday or anniversary, or starting a new business, buying a new home, becoming ordained as a minister. All of these are threshold moments. So, what does it really mean to be on a threshold? And what does this mean for our lives? Well, let me offer an analogy. Here where I live in the Pacific Northwest, we have lots of flowering shrubs and trees. Now, recently I've been traveling away from home quite a bit. And when I returned from one trip, I was actually amazed, astounded by all the greenery around me. I actually experienced a bit of shock. Now, when I departed on my travels, almost all of the trees were still black and bare and barren, all except the evergreen trees, of course, the pines and the fir. But when I returned just a few weeks later, the trees that had been black and barren and bare, they were absolutely glorious. I mean, everywhere I looked, all I saw was